Hello, everyone. Welcome to AgricTech Founders Diary podcast, powered by AgricTech Digest. I'm your host, Kenneth Obayuana. Today, we are discussing a major topic: how water intelligence is feeding the future. Of course, you all will agree with me that water is the lifeblood of agriculture, yet also one of the biggest constraints across Africa and beyond. Farmers are facing a new era: unpredictable rainfall, shrinking water tables, and rising demand for food security. Today, we are asking critical questions. How do we make every drop count? Our guest is Deborah. Deborah, you're welcome to the studio today. Deborah is a water and agri-tech professional using data-driven systems to help farmers optimize irrigation, improve yield, and adapt to climate stress. Our work sits right at the heart of one of agricultural most pressing challenges: sustainable water use. Let's explore how water intelligence is quite shaping the future of food. All right. Once again, I want to welcome Deborah to the studio. It's great to have you join us this today. Welcome to the studio. Hello, Deborah. Can you hear me, Deborah?
Yeah. Yes, I can. I can. Go ahead.
Okay. So water um is also treated as an endless resources until it run out from our experience so far, right? What's the real state of water use in agriculture today, and where are we falling short?
Okay. Firstly, of course, I'd like to do like a proper introduction and give him a concept on what AquaTrack is doing and what AquaTrack is about, right?
Hey,
Um,
sorry, that would
hello.
be the best way for us to let's get to know you first. Tell us about yourself and how you get into this space you are. Give us a brief intro about yourself, what you do, how you get into where you are. I mean, that would be good, yes.
Yes. Okay. So, hello everyone. Good evening. My name is Deborah Falope, and I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer at AquaTrack Limited. And AquaTrack is a blue tech and agri-tech startup that is completely transforming how fish farmers sell, scale, and grow their businesses across Africa. So, with the help of artificial intelligence and IoTs, we are completely revolutionizing the industry. So we built an AI powered farm operating system. This helps our farmers with farm optimization and general farm management. So we help them with water quality management, inventory tracking, financial tracking, and of course, based off our farmers' data, we also give them access to finance from our financial partners. And of course, you can't help farmers increase production and help them with sustainable practice and not help them with market. So we built a created market where our farmers can now sell directly to their consumers. They can sell directly to hotels, restaurants, to also make more profits. And lastly, we built a community to foster knowledge sharing. So we teach our farmers on modern farm practices, sustainable practices, modern aquaculture. We also help them with access to like consultants, agents, like mind. And lastly, we help them with like price updates. So that's in a nutshell. That is like what AquaTrack, we do. That's what we do here at AquaTrack. Yes.
Fantastic work. That's amazing work you guys are doing. I mean, you guys are doing a lot of amazing work there. But
Thank you.
it's good. I'm happy to hear your story and your journey so far. But let me ask you a question. Um,
Okay.
if you Okay, back to my first question I just asked. From your experience so far, what's the real state of water use in agriculture today, and where are we falling short?
Yes. So basically, especially of course I would speak better on aquaculture because that is my niche. So regardless of being a tech founder, right, I'm also a fish farmer. So I'm a farmer, right? And technically we actually have issues with water because of bad um bad water, like bad quality water, right? It also affects us in our production. And what causes this bad water is of course a lot of pollution and the fact that we don't have a lot of good drainage system, so water are mostly polluted, and there are some areas where people can't even train this fish because of bad water. So it's really affecting us as a whole, like in agriculture and aquaculture as a whole, right? So based on your question, I don't know if you can come up um
Okay, yeah,
go.
that was a good one. But how long have you been in? Have you been running your startup company now?
Yeah, so we are 2 years. We registered AquaTrack in 2023 in August, but we started full operations this year. We did our beta testing during the fourth quarter of 2024, but we launched full operations this year, January. Yeah.
So what's been your biggest challenges since you've been operating?
Um, Adoption, right? I feel like that is always the first
Good
challenge
to hear
because
that one too. Yes, I'm listening to you. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, so I feel like that's always the first challenge when it comes to any new startup, basically, because you're bringing something new to people and it sounds foreign. I mean, it's different from what they are used to. A lot of farmers still do poor farm management, right? They don't know that farming can be, they don't know how to do like modern farming or sustainable farming, if I should call it that way. You still have a lot of farmers that don't keep proper recording, like they don't even know what they're doing on the farm. So they can't even have, like they don't even have records. Like most farmers are just stocking and then breeding fish, but then they don't even know whether they are making profit, they don't know whether they are making loss, right? They don't even know what they are doing wrong or what they are doing right, right? And that was why you know, we were struggling with them adopting to a new system that would help them, you understand, do better because, of course, trust, the issue of trust. Because AquaTrack was basically there to now help our farmers use modern practice. So basically, farmers that will be able to use our system will be able to keep proper records, right? They will be able to get AI powered insights in terms of fish mortality, in terms of training from stocking to harvesting. Everything is being there and being tracked properly. Also with our artificial intelligence, right, and our real-time insights, our farmers can even tell if a harvest is profitable or not. So we're really struggling with getting them to leave what they were used to start using this thing. But so far I feel like we've been able to tackle that challenge. You understand, in our own little way, because we do direct marketing, so we go directly to the farms to teach them, to train them on how to use the system. So that was one way we were able to tackle adoption. I think that was our major problem, adoption, because if it's in terms of it solving their problem, it was obviously built for that.
So
Yeah.
now, how were you able to overcome that challenges so far?
Yes, so like I said, we go directly to our farmers to teach them. So when you we keep going, we have like trainings with our farmers, and we do like a monthly, rather a monthly webinar where we train our farmers. We are very accessible, so if they have any issues, they reach out to us. Also, we built like a WhatsApp AI powered WhatsApp assistant that is linked directly to our platform, whereby our farmers that don't necessarily learn it, right, can, as simple as, snap their record books or snap their receipts, and then everything can still be uploaded for them, right? They can still be tracking their data even via WhatsApp. So we also made it easier for those of our farmers that are not necessarily learned or advanced to go directly to the platform to access it themselves. Also, and that way we were able to also tackle the challenge, right, of this adoption as well. Was okay, I mentioned training, I mentioned the WhatsApp assistant that we built for them. um of course, we also threw in a lot of benefits that they can't obviously do without, because like I mentioned earlier when I was
Uh,
doing my intro, like I mentioned earlier when I was doing my intro, we don't just help them with like farm management, farm optimization, proper farm practice. We also give them access to finance. So basically, we tell our farmers, if you can keep your records properly, if you can, give us this data, and based on if you see your performance, you can get access to funding. You get, so this was like another way, another angle we used to like help with in terms of adoption. So yeah.
Great. I'm happy with your story so far. But have there been um have there been any government support, any fundings, and where have you been getting your biggest support from so far?
Okay, so I would say it's a mix of both. It's a mix of everything, really. We got our first funding from ALX Ventures, Sun Technologies. We raised our first safe from them. But so far, we've been able to also get help from like reputable organizations like Mest Africa, like NITDA. NITDA is a Nigerian sponsored organization. So they were able to sponsor AquaTrack to go showcase in GITEX Morocco. So we're in the Nigerian pavilion. So we're able to like represent Nigeria there. Also, like I said, it's just a mix of both. So both from private organizations and governments, we've been able to gather support to push the innovation. Yeah.
That's amazing. So, um, let me ask you, we've seen brilliant innovations around water management, right? What do you think is really holding farmers back in terms of? I mean, you talked about adoptions. That's one of your biggest struggle, right? But
Mm.
I mean, you're not the only founder in the agritech space that have talked about adoption. What is really holding farmers back when it comes to adoption?
Okay, so I feel like most times what is really holding them back is the fact that most times some of the solutions are not actually what they need. Might not be actually what they really need at that point. Because, like I said, I'm not just a technical founder, I'm also a farmer, right? So, we've seen so many shiny solutions that have come out, fancy IoTs, fancy equipment, and their cost. And basically, as a farmer, our thought process is two things: feed, right? A feed and finance to get feed to feed the fish, because actually anything agriculture is actually capital intensive, right? So me as a farmer, if your solution is one fancy IoT and one fancy IoT or one fancy equipment that is not necessarily directly solving my problem, right, I might not want to adopt it. You understand? So most times you might be solving a problem, but the real question should be: is it really a pressing problem? I think that's just in a nutshell. Is it really a pressing problem? Is this really what these farmers are lacking? Yes, quite well. It might be a problem, but like I said, is it like really their first problem? Because when you're solving a direct problem, you might only face adoption in terms of trust, which is like, oh, it's a new thing, can I trust it? Do you get? But if you're really solving that problem, then it's not necessarily going to be like a bottleneck for you. But when you're solving like an indirect problem, like not a pressing problem, then that's where you find it really hard. Like the whole adoption process will be slow, and then you don't necessarily have farmers hopping on your solution. I don't know if I've answered your question.
You've answered the questions. But
Mhm.
another thing again, I think you should also throw some light on. Do you also think agritech startups like yours, like you, should build with farmers? Like maybe share data, get data from farmers to build around what they are doing with farmers. What's your thought about that?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Even AquaTrack, before we launched it to the market, we worked with so many farmers. We didn't just stop with the fact that we had experience, right? So we carried out survey. We went to these farms. We went to small, medium to large scales, and then we got their data. We also wanted to know their pain points, right? We also wanted to be sure that what we are solving is what they actually needed, like what they actually need, rather. So of course, any good solution is one that I've worked with the audience or with their target markets, right? So if you don't work with the target market, how do you know your how do you know that was like, how do you know you're solving their problem? Do you understand what makes a good product? So what makes a good product? A good product is something that's actually solving a solution, right? You're actually solving a solution, you're actually solving a pain point. So if you don't work with your target markets, then how do you now know that you're actually solving this problem? Especially if you're not even in the field, because a lot of technical founder don't have direct knowledge about this industry. They might not even be farmers. They might just be tech savvy, right? They might just be tech savvy or in operations or in business, but they don't necessarily know. Like they don't necessarily know what's really going on the farm. Do you understand? So, of course, my
Yeah.
advice to every farmer that is into the agri-tech space, sometimes you need to go into the field and see the actual problem. Like everything, like real life, like what is actually happening on the farm is different from what you read on Google or what we read from ChatGPT. It's different. Like now, if you go on ChatGPT and search production plan for a full cycle of fish, those information are not necessarily correct. Do you understand? But you
Mm-hmm.
need someone that actually experienced it, that actually knows what they need for a full circle of fish and what would do well, what works. That is when you can actually get real data, accurate data to solve the problem of production plan. I don't know if I'm hitting somewhere
Yes,
with you. So
yes.
that's interesting. So you definitely have to work with the target market to build a great solution.
Great,
Yes.
great. Right, those are really good answers, But let me ask you, when do you think farmers have one of their biggest issues is water, like irrigation? And if you think it's irrigation, what are how are you guys solving it?
Mm. Honestly,
Yes.
yes. Water is a big issue. Water is a big issue, from like good water to like even in terms of discharging. So sorry, I'm a bit biased. I'm aquaculture focused because that is an aspect that I know best, right? So we, for fish farmers, water is a big issue, from like getting
Mm.
a good place to like get good water, to getting a good place to discharge, right?
Yeah.
It has always been an issue. In fact, that is the biggest issue a fisherman, one of the biggest issues a fisherman will tell you that, oh, I'm facing, especially if they don't have like um a good a good place that have good water system, right? Most farmers would lose fish, like most times would lose a lot of fish just because of a little change in temperature or a little change in the water. You understand? So these things are very critical, especially in fish farming. So yes, water plays a huge role. You understand? A huge role, especially if you're like in the bad aspect of things where you don't even have good water to start with. So yes, it plays a huge role. And then how do we tend to solve it? Most times we build around places like canals, right? Places with good drainage system, so that we don't necessarily have issues with water. And then in terms of the water quality, we do water treatment, right? So we have various water treatment that we can do to stabilize everything, so that we don't necessarily need to start losing our produce. So that is how we tackle it. But of course, in a long run, it's not necessarily sustainable, right? So that is why you see that is where AI and IoT comes in now. So there is this purifier that has been built whereby you can now even recycle your water. You understand? You can recycle your water. The dirt flows into like your crops for those people that have like cropping system, and then the clean water flows back. So these are solutions that has been coming out now that is also trying to solve this problem. Yes.
Thank you very much. As we begin to wrap up this podcast, what's your strategy to scale across different regions or crops, given the variability in farm practice, data and infrastructures? What's your strategy to scaling?
Okay. Of course, our strategy to scale is the fact that for one, when it comes to agricultural practice, is actually quite similar across, like in Nigeria and across Africa, West Africa. Be it Ghana, Egypt, and Tanzania. These are like African countries that do a lot of fishing. Then we have like Asia, right? So when it comes to scaling our solution, AquaTrack is really adaptable, right? It's really adaptable and flexible. And like I said, the solution we are building is mostly around farm management and sustainable practice. That is AI data driven insights, basically from harvest, from point of stocking to harvest. So basically help our farmers with like optimize, like I said, optimize operations, right? What's the word? We help them with, they take these steps knowing what they are to expect, right? So it's a solution that can be adapted even across Africa, right? So in terms of scaling, we know that yes, the problem is not just solving, like it's not just niched down to like a Nigerian problem. It scales across Africa. So because it's a similar problem across Africa in terms of agriculture, in terms of aquaculture. So we know that yes, it's a product that is also in demand in other countries. So we already have some lead, but I feel like we still need, of course, funding. We still need funding to be able to push, but we have so many other countries reaching out that they would love to adapt aquaculture. You understand? Even teaching schools. But like I said, we are still growing, we're still getting there. But of course, by next year, we should be able to scale at least across two other African countries. Yes.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much for the questions. Now, but let me ask you before we finally go. What's like your top three advice to any agri-tech founders listening to us tonight?
Okay, so my first advice would be number one, if you're not a farmer per se, if you don't have field experience per se, my one advice would be go to the farms, connect with your target audience, connect with people you're trying to solve their problems, so that you can actually know if you're solving that problem or not. Secondly, I would advise them to keep going because I know that adoption can be a real bottleneck because it's new. And then I feel like it is normal when you discover that it is normal that these people need to take their time to trust you. You don't need to give up halfway. You need to keep pushing. Very soon you discover that, oh, it's going to be adopted. It's going to be adopted on its own. Like it's just going to find a way to find its market. And of course, my life advice would be still surrounding, keep pushing, right? Keep pushing the dream, keep trying to help the agriculture and aquaculture sector. We are really left behind. I mean, I feel like other sectors have advanced so much and agriculture is really behind. But right now we see a lot of us standing up and finding a way to fix the gap in the industry. So we just need to keep thriving. There's a market for everybody, and of course everyone is doing amazingly well. So yeah, that is what I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you joining us in the studio today, and thank you for for answering those, for bringing clarity to those questions today. So guys listening to us today, thank you all for watching this program with us. As usual, we'll see you guys in our next episode. For now, do it to follow us on all our social media platform. Don't also forget to visit us at www.agritech.jazz.com. Until then, we'll see you all again. Bye from my end. Bye, everyone. Thank you very much once again for joining us, Deborah. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Bye from my end.
Bye. Thank you.